Ms. Sharon Woods, thanks so much for being here today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
It is my pleasure. Today we're going to be talking about DISA J-6, and DISA J-6's mission is crucial for enabling C4 capabilities. Could you elaborate a bit on how J-6's strategic vision aligns with the broader DISA and DoD visions?
Sure. So, recently Secretary Hegseth had released his 3 priorities, and I would note 2 of them specific to J-6. The first of them is rebuilding our military by matching threats to capabilities, and then the second one is reestablishing deterrence by defending our homeland. So those 2 dovetail directly into General Stanton's priorities for DISA. So 2 of those that I would note is campaigning functionally relevant capabilities. So again, you see the linkage between threats and capabilities in campaigning, and then establishing lethality through a resilient network, which is a huge part of what J-6 does. So fundamentally, J-6 deploys a global fabric of C4, right? So command, control, communications, and computers. It is what underlies everything and the department's ability to communicate with itself. We not just do that for the workforce, but we also have a huge focus on national leadership capabilities as well, NLCC, and that is all the capabilities behind senior leadership and their ability to direct forces and command and control. From a networking standpoint, we are responsible for deploying DoDnet. So that is a commodity IT networking environment for defense agencies and field activities. Ultimately, there will be over 300,000 users of that environment. It already has a global footprint. DISA itself is on DoDnet as well as a few other agencies. So, collectively, it's about connecting senior leaders, connecting the workforce on a global scale.
That's fantastic. It sounds like you are quite busy. You mentioned in there the word lethality, which is huge right now. So the connection between secure communications and battlefield lethality is absolutely critical. Could you help us make that connection? So how is it that J-6 works to establish lethality? And could you maybe give us an example of that?
Sure, absolutely. And lethality, right, as noted before, a huge part of Secretary Hegseth and General Stanton's priorities for the organization. So one of the things we do is develop information or deploy information technology for the Pentagon. So what does that mean? It's not just the Pentagon, it's the whole national capital region. There are over 30 sites that we deploy capabilities to. Collectively, it's about 530 acres of a networking environment, as well as all the endpoints, right? Phones and computers and the security and everything that goes behind that. So you can imagine some of our nation's most senior leaders are in the Pentagon. Their network goes down, their computer does not turn on, they are incapable of directing forces. So fundamentally, what we do every day, and it's not just for senior leaders, think about the analyst who's writing a memo for the Deputy Secretary of Defense to advise them on a particular operation, right? If their computer's down, they can't do their job. If they can't do their job, the Deputy Secretary of Defense is not getting information on a timely basis. So I think what we do really comes down to advantage for decision making and achieving data superiority.
You touched on it a little there. I want to lean into this. So if there was a day without DISA J-6, what happens?
So in my mind, it cripples the department, right? If the Pentagon goes down, the whole building can't communicate. Those 530 acres, all 30 of those locations like I talk about. We deliver command and control, not just for directing forces, but nuclear command and control. We deliver continuity of government. We deliver continuity of operations. So if we're not in play, forces are not being directed where they need to go. If something were to happen from a conflict standpoint, command and control is degraded, which affects lethality, which affects the department's just core ability to operate.
This is really a mission where failure is not an option.
No, it is not, which, we have an incredible workforce, a mission-first workforce.
Absolutely. And so as you're taking on a mission like this, what does it look like to adopt new technology? Because everyone wants to have the nicest cutting edge technology, but it also has to be secure. And as we've said, it can't fail. And so how do you balance the need for robust cybersecurity, information assurance, as well as getting the best and newest stuff?
So I think one of the most important things in today's world is making threat-based decision making and using the intelligence that we have to inform capability development. So I'll give you an example. Supply chain risk, right? Everyone talks about supply chain risk, and there's a series of items that you can comply with. But beyond that, you need to understand the threat landscape. You need to be using that information to understand where the adversary is attempting to inject themselves. So one of the things you have to do in order to do that well is the partnerships with the defense industrial base, with the intelligence community, and also with DISA's own J2. Standing up the J2 and having that organization has been key, I think, in DISA's decision making and really incorporating threat-based decision making.
Absolutely. I want to circle back to something you brought up earlier, which is DoDnet. So DoDnet has been a significant modernization effort. What are some of the biggest hurdles that J6 has encountered with DoDnet, and what innovative approaches are being used to overcome them?
Sure. So DoDnet, I had mentioned, is common IT. But when you get to the agency, they have commodity IT, they have mission IT. And it is really important to tease apart the two. Otherwise, we negatively impact their mission. So it really comes down to good old process and communication. So one of the things we do is triage all their applications. We encounter agencies with over 150 applications. Some of them they don't use. Some of them are duplicative, some of them are common IT, some of them are mission IT. By J6 performing the common IT functions, which is really DISA's core capability, right? We are an enterprise IT organization, so we can deliver those common IT capabilities with DoDnet for the DAFAs, the defense agencies, and field activities. But we have to be really careful about carving out and making sure that the agency we're supporting, they are able to execute their mission. And by us doing the common IT, it lets them focus on their unique mission rather than being distracted by the things that are kind of the rinse and repeat activities, right? The things that everybody has to have. That's what we're really good at delivering.
Absolutely. And then as you look out into the future, when you think 3 to 5 years out, what are some of the biggest priorities for DISA J6?
So earlier this year, we actually finalized the DISA J6 strategic plan. And we have 3 priorities that are laid out in there. One is to cultivate a culture of excellence. I think people are foundational to being an incredible premier organization. So one of the things that goes with that, for instance, is staff proficiency, which dovetails right into General Stanton's priority about readiness and being ready for the fight, right? Staff proficiency is key to that. The second priority that we have is delivering world-class services. We've talked about some of those services. General Stanton talks about continuous modernization as one of his priorities. So that's also something that we're trying to do, not just deliver the capability and leave it and be done, but continuously modernize it. So that is also one of our high priorities and one of our focus. The last one is providing quality customer experience. And I think, as part of this conversation, you're probably starting to see we do a ton of interaction with the customer, right? And that has to be a quality experience. And it needs to be a consistent experience across all customers that's predictable. The better we're able to do our job, the better that they are able to do theirs. And that's really what it's all about. We're here to support them. And that's the key function that we provide.
That's wonderful. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I just really appreciate the conversation. I mean, ultimately, we're excited about implementing our plan and supporting the department.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.